gonna keep live on my phone. I'm gonna turn my volume off though, so I can see what people saying.
It should come up in the chat comments.
It will. Hold on.
All right, I see it. That's what's causing the echo. Everybody, hello. How you doing? Welcome to the live.
Hello, guys. What's up? Welcome to Monday Night Live with Zach and Rodney, and we have a special guest, KingTron.
The one and only of the Galleria Hotel, KingTron. Welcome to tonight's broadcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, man.
It is great to have you here with us. And so it seems like you do a lot of stuff in the Atlanta area. So it says that you are not only a personal trainer, but you're also a mental health advocate, on-air radio host, as well as a sales and marketing director for the Wingate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes, trying to come here, done it all, huh?
So, Ron, here's a question that I have for you. What has been the impact of COVID-19 on your entrepreneurial pursuits?
You know what, man? You mentioned personal training. From a personal training standpoint, I mean, that definitely came to a very minimum because all the gyms were closed. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, people weren't really trying to be outside, let alone sweat, around somebody else. So that part definitely came to a halt. At the hotel, actually, we stayed open and we were actually able to house a lot of essential workers during that time. We was able to, come up lower rate to help them throughout that process. A lot of people came from out of town, nurses, doctors, or whatnot, and stayed at our hotel, man. So that was good from that angle. Even from the radio standpoint, I mean, that came to a halt as well. Yeah. So, just had to find ways to be creative to keep people engaged, throughout that process, which can sometimes be challenging, man, because everything's shut down. So it's like, what are you going to do? So you have to find a way and be creative and inventive. So, but for the most part, I just recently became certified to be a CPR and
specialist.
Yeah, man. Yep. Yes, sir. Basic life support instructor, man. So that has picked up some traction, man. So I'm grateful for that.
Rodney, do me a favor. My friend, if you can, my friend Colt wanted to watch us, so I told her to add you on Facebook so she could watch live. She wanted to check it out. So if you can add her as a friend if you haven't done so.
She followed me, so yeah.
Okay, you already added. Good. Colt, if you're out there, give a comment whenever you join in. So it's been a crazy. Well, I won't even say it's been a crazy week, but it's been it's been a hard week. I thought that after last week, it was one of really the most challenging weeks of 2020, and it seems as though, unfortunately, every week we're faced with a new challenge, and that the actual police brutality and injustice that was facing and gripping America came home to us in the city of Atlanta. And both of you being men who live in our city, what were your thoughts on what happened with the unfortunate, killing of Rayshard Brooks?
Okay, I might get a lot of backlash for this, but I have to be fair. And with the footage that I have seen, okay, you guys make out the which I have been presented with, this all over the news as people are sharing and therefore, the guy was drunk. He was apparently asleep in a drive-thru. The police came up and talked to him or whatever. He was very talked to police in a very calm manner. He was very good until they were about to arrest him. Then he got acting crazy. Now, keep in mind, he was drunk. So I get that, but y'all, don't make that face, Zach. I have to be fair. He was drunk. But when you are attempting to steal somebody's gun, it wasn't a gun, taser. I'm sorry, taser. And you attempt to shoot the taser at the police officer. Now, do I think they should have shot to kill him? No. But they should have shot him his knees or something to make him fall down. But he was in the wrong. Now, I don't want to get Black Lives Matter movement messed up with everything that's going with black people. That was not a Black Lives Matter movement. That dude made a dumb mistake. You have to, it's true because that's a difference for somebody sitting on your neck and you can't move and like you can't breathe and they're applying pressure. But he just should have took that arrest and went on by his life. This is what I don't understand with people. Like I get it, we on edge. I on the edge as well, but I get put up by police officers and things like that. But let's not do stuff to make people want you put us in a situation that we can't get out of. That makes sense. He put us in a situation where I felt like he could have avoided if he just would have done what he was supposed to do. Took that arrest, got the DUI charge, went home, got bailed out. He could have saw his daughter's birthday. Unfortunately, he was gunned down. That was wrong. They shot to kill him. However, I feel they had every right to get that man down and protect themselves.
Tron, what are your thoughts?
What Rodney said that obviously he was drunk. However, he was not drunk enough to where he wasn't functional. And he said that in that video, I don't know if you guys seen the video, the prior to everything happening, he was very responsive. He answered all the questions. And I felt like the cops was trying to get him to say, I'm too drunk to drive. Because he was like, listen, I've been drinking a little bit, but now that y'all came around, like I'm alert. Woo, woo. He's like, look, I know I was asleep. I called my girlfriend. I wanted to get her something to eat. She was like, you're a man, you just order whatever, right? So he fell asleep in the drive-thru. Somebody called the cops, whatever. They came and knocked on the window. They told him to pull to the side. So my thing is, at this point, okay, he pulled to the side. And he said himself, he's like, listen, man, I know y'all just doing y'all job. I just came from out of town. It's been a long day. My daughter's birthday, my mother passed away last year. I came to visit the grave. I can leave my car here. He's like, let me just leave my car here. I will walk home. He's like, look, I'm staying like a couple of minutes down the street. I can walk home. And they was like, no, like you're driving. What are you saying? You too drunk to drive? He's like, nah, I'm not saying that. He's just saying, I just want to leave this situation. I can leave the car. He literally was like, let me leave my car here. Like, I don't even have to drive. Just let me walk home. And I want to see my daughter, yada, yada, yada. The cops, I feel like the cops should have let them. They could have followed him home. They could have drove him home. They could have allowed him to call an Uber or Lyft or something. But for some reason, they kept going after this guy. Now, he tried to run. Okay. Don't do that. You know what I mean? You don't do that. But still, I think the man still should be alive today. There's no reason why this man should be dead. So, he should not be dead at all. Period.
I think, Tron, that my beliefs more closely aligned with yours than Rodney's on this issue. So one thing that is, and Sean Martin agrees with you, Tron, is that the officers actually were intentionally driving to the point to resist. I don't know about if the officers wanted him to necessarily be forced to resist, but I definitely think the officers were pushing to get an arrest here.
For sure.
They were pushing for him to admit that he was too drunk to drive, get arrested, put him in jail, collect money, put him in the system. That's how the system works. So
they was trying, yeah.
But let's be clear, Zach. I know about 3 people who died from DUIs.
That's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for these things. He was drunk, Rodney. Yeah, he was definitely drunk. This is the thing. Everybody's drunkenness is different. Some people are drunk and very coherent and go in and out of coherence while drunk. Some people can become violently drunk. Some people can become blissfully drunk. Being drunk, I mean, it's just different for different human beings, different people. Mm-hmm. What I will say is that what happened to him, to me, was best summed up today in Mayor Keisha Lance's Bottoms press conference when she said this man very well may have been trying to fight not to be arrested in Atlanta. He's from out of town. He's going to get arrested out of town in a foreign place while he's there visiting, his mom's graveside, wanting to be home for his daughter's birthday. There is no reason that the police officer should not have simply let it go. If you can't arrest him and he fought back, all of that was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. And I want to implore every single Black person out there, period, do not confront the police because you're in a losing battle that can cost you your life. It's not worth your life. Just don't do it. But the fact that he did it and that he lost his life is, to me, a travesty. On the other end, Rodney, I do understand what you're saying, and I empathize with a lot of people right now who are in law enforcement. You know, two people I love, I want to shout them out right now. You know, I have a good friend, Jolly, who runs with us and moves in faces. I love Jolly. She's a great police officer, and I know she's a black female. I know this is hurting her. I know this is tearing on her, but this is what she has given her life to do. The same thing goes with my former students who I love very much, Wesley Floyd. This happened in his precinct, in his zone that he patrols every day. And it's devastating to see to Zackory, the best police chief that Atlanta has ever had, lose her to step down from her job over this. Chief Erica Shields is the best police chief I have ever seen in any country or any city ever, period. She is a role model and a trailblazer for the LGBT.
I mean, could you imagine the pressure that she has going on right now?
It's not worth it. If I would quit too. I would be doing this. You know, I Googled her salary. I looked up how much she makes. You know, I was a public employee for 17 years before going into the private sector. So I know all of our salaries are public. She did not make enough money in this climate, that job, to be put in a position to go against the people that she serves for the greater good of what public sentiment may be. So, because regardless of what we think and feel, at the end of the day, let me be honest with everybody. Let me just say this, and I know this is going to be my unpopular moment, Rodney, in tonight's broadcast. These police officers are highly unlikely to face charges. Now, Paul Howard may arrest them the way that he arrested those two cops 2 weeks ago. But they're probably not going to face charges because of how the laws are written to protect the police officers and what they do. So when we're protesting and fighting, we can't be protesting to get people arrested to circumvent the law. We need to be protesting to change the law so that when this happens again, they can actually be penalized for their crime.
You know what I think should happen, Zackory?
Some of the wrong stuff. Like I saw tonight how there are people blocking Mayor Bottoms from leaving City Hall. Like people are protesting foolish things and not looking at really enacting real change that's going to make a real difference. You cannot circumvent the law. We can protest, burn down every Wendy's in Atlanta, but at the end of the day, the law is the law. The same law that today gave LGBTQIA plus people in this United States of America equal protection for employment are going to be the same laws that will probably exonerate these police officers for what I deem as murder. We need to change those laws, but we're not going to change the laws when we have misplaced priorities and we're fighting for the wrong stuff.
Zachary, this is what I think. What the Atlanta mayor should do, Miss Lance Bottoms. Keisha Lance Bottoms. Mayor Bottoms. I'm sorry, Miss Bottoms.
Put some respect on that name.
Mayor Bottoms. I really feel like we should be having martial law right now, patrolling our streets, and we should have every group of police officers being retrained. I think it's time for everyone to get retrained, have a certain group that goes through training for however long it takes, and then put them back on the street. Right now, I feel like people are scared on both sides. And when either side is scared, it's not going to ever be a good outcome.
Yeah, I don't think it's to the point of martial law, but I think it's headed towards that way. I think that social media and media is pushing it more than what it really is, because in the grand scheme of it, we're talking about a case in Atlanta. You know what I mean? This stuff happens all the time, but I think because of what's going on, and it's almost like an agenda is being pushed. That's right. Even though these are real life situations that are happening, but still, I feel like, because you think about martial law, like that means that they have you basically have no control over nothing anymore. So if you walk in the street, they can literally stop you and frisk you at any moment. They don't have to ask no questions. They don't have to nothing. Like there is no law. There is nothing. Like you are.
I'm doing that now, though, Tron.
That's true, but that's to the point where there's no, like, you can't do nothing. Like you can't. There's nothing that you can do. So I don't think it's to that point, but I do feel like they're trying to. I don't want to say distract us, but I do feel like there's something behind what they're pushing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, because it happened to white people too. I mean, even though it happens to us at a higher rate, I still, like me, you'll still see videos of police brutality happen to white people. But again, the numbers are a little bit lower than ours, but still it happens. But our agenda is being pushed a little bit more. It's almost like they're wanting to start this race war or this war on police to try to say, all right, police is not working. Let's move them out the way and let's put in martial law so that we can control this narrative for a little bit so we can really put in what we really want to do.
You know, that's a very interesting conspiracy theory, Trump. I don't necessarily know to what extent I can say I agree with it, but I definitely believe that people are capitalizing on this moment in history to force their own personal agendas.
For
and
sure.
We have to be very careful in buying into it because people are so, but I also, one thing I've learned, because I actually stepped away from Facebook for a long time because I just didn't see the point in it. And I was really sick of being inundated with fake news and, you know, all this fake media. But now I see that, you know, I have responsibility to people to do what I can do to just be a voice to people who, you know, love, and respect me. But when it comes down to I've learned that when I see people post, some people just want drama and anarchy and mess and anger, and they lean towards just anger. And they don't want anything but just the absolute just downfall. They could care less if everything is in shambles. Like people are celebrating when a Wendy's burned down. People are celebrating, you know, a woman losing her job. People are celebrating a man losing his life because now they can protest and lose some more. Those things to me are abhorrible. People are not seeking solutions or outcomes. Not everybody. This is not the majority of people involved in the protest, but there's a small faction of people who are all about the discontent of American society, and they're having their moment right now.
A little come up, a little fame. Look,
or whatever they're trying to do, and it really disappoints me. And I think that we have responsibility to, you know, call them out. Again, I support Chief Shields. I think that she's a phenomenal law officer. I think she's a role model in the Atlanta community. I don't know if you guys know, but she made a very strong effort. We see you, Rodney. She made a very strong effort to ensure that police officers were housed or lived in the communities in which they served, and that so that the community members would like know their officers and the officers would know their community. So things like this wouldn't even happen. And that is the type of real reform that helps move our society forward. And it's disappointing that her work will not get to continue. And, you know, and it's also disappointing to me that people are really pushing against our mayor. When you attack Keisha Lance Bottoms, you are attacking, in my opinion, the fundamental heart of Atlanta. That's what Zackory believes. I believe Keisha is us if you are real, true, old school Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms was born, raised here. Her father has a background legacy in the music business. She knows what it's like to grow up in struggle, having lost her father at a young age. She knows what it's like. She knows what it is like to be a Black woman married to a Black man and raise Black children. She knows what it's like. She worships in our Atlanta churches at Impact, where I attend. Keisha Lance Bottoms went to Frederick Douglass High School. She is Atlanta through and through. What's shocking to me is that people from all around the United States were having negative things to say about my mayor and not even live in this city, not even know her struggle, not even realize this woman only received 29% of the votes in 2017 when she ran for mayor. She almost lost. She had to go into a runoff where Mary Norwood almost won the election. These people don't realize Mary Norwood ran a campaign, and you know her number one platform? Do y'all remember her number one platform? It was more police. And they're sitting here attacking Keisha when their opponent wouldn't probably even allow protesting to happen. You guys remember when the protest went to Gwinnett and they bust folks upside the head with those clubs and sent them home quick?
I wasn't here then.
That's you would have had some heads. You would have had some busted up heads in Atlanta had Mary been mayor. So, you know, that is what we are on the verge of. I've also seen, or what I'm telling you what I haven't seen. I haven't seen a lot of people in the Republican conservative community of Atlanta making any comments right now.
Hold on, somebody said this.
They're very quiet. They're being very quiet. And so when they're being, James Johnson, I know you did not vote for no Mary. Don't be commenting, I voted for Mary. Vote for no Mary. Stop lying. And if you did vote for Mary, you need to log off. What are you saying?
This is a really tricky and is ugly situation, you guys, when it comes to Black Lives Matter. And I do agree with Zachary. Everything is not a Black Lives Matter movement. It's not a part of Black Lives Matter. We are not here for burning down stuff and stealing stuff and all this unnecessary stuff. We are here to get our voices heard, to vote and get new laws into place where we all can be protected all the way around.
Yeah.
So do I feel like that situation with the guy was a Black Lives Matter movement? I would say no if I had to vote on it. But was it wrong how he was murdered? Yes. Because I feel like when you put yourself in a situation that, come on now, let's keep it real. I know somebody, mama, who is gone right now from a drunk driver. He even said he was on some road. There wasn't no road near where he was at. So the guy was clearly out of it now. Now I'm sympathizing because he's gone. But let's not act like he was not doing anything wrong.
Right. So my thing, he wasn't drunk like to the point of he couldn't stand up straight or walk in a line. Now, because here's the thing, he was drunk and he fell asleep. When you drunk and you sit still long enough, you're gonna fall asleep. I myself have fell asleep at a drive-through at 2:00 in the morning after the club because I was tired and I hadn't been drinking. That's what scares me. Like, dang, I've been at a McDonald's in a drive-through and mess around and doze off real quick, like, oh snap, like let me snap it together. And the cars is like 20 feet ahead of me, and the car behind me blowing the horn. You know what I'm saying? So that could have easily been me in the situation, like that. Had the cops been behind me or something, they could have knocked on my window, and now they telling me to get out the car, and I'm like, dang, my bad, I just fell asleep. I had been drinking a little bit, but I ain't drunk to the point where I can't drive home. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm gone. Now I'm on a t-shirt on my hashtag because they want to do their thing. So again, I mean, he was in a situation, again, he shouldn't have ran. He fought against the cops. However, I still think he should be alive. There's no way the man shouldn't be alive. Right?
And Candace said that, and that's exactly what Chief Shields was moving towards. The cops should have given him a ride home. They should have offered to give him a ride home instead of trying to arrest and detain the man. In addition to that, James said he did indeed vote for Mary. James, we're going to let you stay in the chat. He said he did right. What he's saying, I don't think James is wrong. I don't know about her running her district poorly. But I am afraid that Keisha will be the last Black mayor. And I won't say anything beyond that. And I think that it's people out here who don't understand Atlanta who is going to make that a reality for the city of Atlanta. And if that happens, I think it's going to be a very different Atlanta. And I won't say too much more about that. Did you guys see the protest? I think it was in London, where the white supremacists got beaten up, and then a Black Lives Matter man picked him up and carried him to safety.
I just saw a clip of that, and I don't know what to say about that other than, hey, he was just trying to help.
God bless him. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Hey, man, God bless you, brother.
That's what Christ wants us to do. But I don't believe I could have done it. If
he would have got his ass beat.
Period. Period. I would have been in that mode trying to, hey, look, hold on. Nah, bro.
I really want to believe I would have. I am a Christian. I am, and I say the word. But some situations, it's hard for me to rise above. And if you're sitting here telling me I'm less than you because I'm Black, you getting your butt beat, I think I would have to turn the cheek on you, bro.
But you know what that's like? And it is what it is. That was a slave-like mentality that's going to save massa. It is what it is. That's what it was. Because look, now we going to the oppressor and we helping this oppressor. Even though he didn't call us this and then spat in our face and they done raped our whatever. And now all of a sudden, let me go help him because he's getting his butt whooped. But at the same time, What about when you in Wendy's drive-through and you done got drunk a little bit, and now you getting pulled over by that same person, and you done got killed after you done saved his life? You know what I'm saying?
Can you, Rodney? Can you see Candace's comment where she said, "Is that? Can you make it a banner?" Where she said, "That is why we are at our, you know." And Candace is right. I mean, I think that the African American community as a whole, we are a village, and we believe in looking out for each other, and we don't mind extending entry into the village to other people who aren't like us. That is a core part of who we are. But again, we have to also learn that not everybody is going to be and have our best interests at heart. I don't think this man would have done that on the other end.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have been kicking and stomping too.
I just, you know, and like Zach said, I'm a Christian as well. You supposed to turn the other cheek and do right by people. But as the climate that's going on right now with all this hatred going on, you deserve to get your butt kicked a couple of times. Black folks getting kicked over 400 years. You take a couple of knots off out your head. I'm just saying.
Hey, man.
So today was, of course, a federal civil rights landmark case for members of the LGBTQIA community, coming directly on the heels of President Trump repealing provisions in the Affordable Health Care Act that forbade people from discriminating against members of that community. Today, the Supreme Court ruled that there could be no discrimination against workers because of their sexual identity or their sexual orientation. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this historic ruling that was written by Justice Neil Gorsuch, a Donald Trump appointee to our Supreme Court?
I feel like this was long overdue. I think it's very unfortunate where I really feel like gay rights and black rights are two different things, but they both share equal points when it comes to rights and things like that, because I don't see why my sexual orientation or what I identify as to do anything be working. You know what I'm saying? I pay my tax and when I buy groceries like anybody else. You know, let people do what they want to be and just let people live. It's too much going on in the world right now to worry about what you dress like, who you sleep with. If I ain't trying to sleep, it's none of my business. This should have been happening. They should have been not let people get discriminated because of who you are.
Rodney, I don't agree with you when you say that gay rights aren't black rights, because I actually think that all of these rights fall in the exact same.
No, I say they are. They are.
Yeah, they are. Gay rights, LGBT rights, trans rights, rights for our immigrants and dreamers, rights for African American people, rights for women. All these rights are civil rights and they're human rights. Every single human being should have a lesser slate of rights because of who or what they are. And exactly. I'm thankful for the ruling because it's a step in the right direction. It is a clear rebuke against the hatred and the discrimination of the Trump administration and everything that his followers perpetuate and stand for. But it is extremely disappointing that three bigots sat on the Supreme Court of the United States, Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, and the others, that rapist man, Kavanaugh. They sat on the Supreme Court and they said that people that are members of the LGBTQIA community do not deserve equal rights and protection under the law. It is a travesty. It's a travesty because the law is clear. When you read what Neil Gorsuch wrote, it is clearly delineated in law what has to be based upon the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment is the exact same law that gave free slaves rights as well. So these are all civil rights. And so it's disappointing to me when I hear Black people argue against the rights for members of the LGBTQIA plus community, and disappointing when I hear Black people argue against rights for our immigrant brothers and sisters. KingTron, what do you think as a member of a very different community?
You know, man, the fact that we're talking about this in the year 2020, man, it's like, come on, man. Like, how is this? How are they just now passing a law about this? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, man, we're all human beings. It don't matter your sexuality. It don't matter any preferences, nothing. You know, you are a human being before anything. And we should all be treated as such. You know, no matter what you are, what you think, at the end of the day, we all have, it should be equal rights. But as we know, we don't all have equal rights. So I just think, man,
why do you think we don't? Why do you think that it has taken so long for members of the LGBTQIA plus community to be given equal protections for employment under the law?
You know, I'm still confused as to why there was a law in place in the first place to not have equal rights when it comes to sexuality. Like, because at the end of the day, if you can type on the typewriter, you can type on the typewriter. If you can send an email, you can send an email. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with your sexuality. Doesn't have anything to do with your skin color. It doesn't have anything to do with whatever your religious belief. If you can work and if you can do the work, it don't matter. You know what I mean? So I'm still baffled.
The law, it was actually 3 cases that made the Supreme Court under the same umbrella, but the main plaintiff was a man from Georgia, a white man from Georgia, who worked for the Clayton County Human Services, like their defects version. He was one of the highest performers, and that he had 100% of his caseload covered. And we all know that when you work at defects, you have an impossible caseload to manage. It's like a national crime. And he was a member of a gay softball league. His employer, his supervisor, saw that and then terminated him, saying that he doesn't have the right to work in Clayton County and as a gay man. So that's what opened this up. So it's right here in Georgia, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And now the law allows him to sue Clayton County, which I'm certain now that he's going to win after it has gone to the
exactly. But this is why I don't agree with social media sometimes, like it's a yin and yang. When people are outside, whether you are a racist, a bigot, whatever you want to be, on your personal life and your personal page, I don't think that's right for you to be based off of what your person. If it's not affecting your work. Why are you snooping on my Facebook page? See what the hell I'm doing outside of work? That's none of your business. You get what I'm saying? That's why sometimes like, it's a blessing and a curse, because he got fired for doing stuff on his own personal time. What sense? Are we safe anymore in America? Honestly, do we have any more privacy? If I say I don't like that vote, should I be fired? If I don't like the color red, should I lose my job? Like, everything is so touchy and so sensitive now, and that really aggravates me.
Yeah, but you can see, man, things were forced upon us from the beginning. You know what I mean? Ever since we came to this country, things were forced, and there were laws in place to come against everything that we are for. But at the end of the day, and again, I'm still baffled that we're still in 2020, and we're still talking about, okay, now they're just now passing this law of whatever. Like it baffles me. Like I seen something the other day, President Trump was like, "Oh, we just made the first African American something with the military." I'm like, it's 2020 and we still talking about the first black person to, like, that's crazy to me, man. Like I just don't get it, man. I'm confused. Like
it's very crazy. I feel like we all can agree on that.
Cole, you make a good point. Cole is saying that she hadn't been on Facebook in almost 4 years because there is no privacy. And when you have a public sector job, people use that and use what you post against you, very easily. In addition, one other thing, guys, unfortunately, we have a number of NFL players reporting back to training camp and they're testing positive for COVID-19. An example today is that Ezekiel Elliott did test positive for COVID-19, Dallas Cowboy. He was involved in a number of the protests recently. He was a very strong advocate and came out in support of Black Lives Matter. What do you guys think about what we now see as a rise in COVID-19 cases without a rise in governmental response?
I said this once, I'll say it again. I will march on and be on a ventilator until Black lives really matter. Until Black can change. I am also going on the march on the 28th. August 28th in Washington, D.C.
We in there.
Yeah, I'm going to go too. So, maybe we all get together and do like a live in our mask.
Yeah.
I'm going to be wearing my mask.
and gloves, right?
I've gone to protests here in Atlanta. I've also been wearing my mask, and I still wear gloves because
Right.
I know that I feel like it's a habit of me to like touch my face and I articulate with my hands. So I make sure that.
But you know what, bro? You touch your face with gloves, it's still the same thing. Ain't no difference.
Yeah, it is.
No difference.
But because I have it on my hands, it reminds me not to touch my face. Like
Right,
I
right.
touch my face with the gloves on.
Right.
So I'm gonna go, but at the same time, I also think that this is a real serious issue, and it's only going to continue to spread COVID-19. And until we get COVID-19, I think in some ways now, Rodney, we're being counterproductive because COVID-19 is ravaging the African American community. Unfortunately, because of how the world that we live in is set up, a number of our people are the ones in wage earning jobs that have to go to work. And so they're spreading the virus and they're taking it home to elderly people, elderly family members. I think that is very dangerous and it really concerns me because, what we don't want to see is more Black people die. And another thing is that what kind of came out too, before it was released that African Americans were the ones dying at larger rates than any other race of COVID-19, you had a national response. As soon as it became known that it was African Americans who were losing their lives, let's open back up. How is that for a conspiracy theory, Tron?
I feel like that's true.
Hey, man. I think it was inevitable for them to try at some point to try to figure out a way to put blame on us, on Black people. Yeah. So, I mean, there's really no way around it. I think we was going to find a way to come outside anyway. You know what I mean? I don't think there was no way around that either. We would have found a way. But I mean, it's just, it's one of those things, man, where it's like, you don't believe it'll happen until it happens to you or happens to somebody that's close to you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times we get so prideful in thinking that we're invincible, that this thing won't happen to us. And then it happens to us or somebody close to us. And it's like, okay, now we want to take this thing serious.
I feel like that's the type of people we are. We don't worry about to affect somebody we know directly. It's indirectly. Yeah. So, like I said, unfortunate cases are going to rise. But again, if I have to be on the ventilator, marching from my hospital bed, I will, because Black lives do matter to me.
Yeah, I think this year's march. I think this year's march is going to be the largest march ever created. Like, I believe if so many people this year that's talking about they are going to that march this year. Like, I've never heard this many people saying that, like, all over. So I think it's going to be a big deal, man. I am a little concerned.
So we got two different opinions here. James is saying, like, is it us though? Like, are we prepared? Are we spreading COVID-19?
Hold on, James made a good point right here. So I want y'all to see this. Wait, sorry. Do you think clubs should really be open right now? Honestly,
yeah. Let me tell you this. I don't know about if clubs should be open, but you shouldn't be going to one.
Yeah, right.
Don't go to a club. Have a club at your house. If you and your friends have been doing the right things and maintaining appropriate COVID-19 precautions, then you have a club at your house. Invite people over. All your friends you will be partying with the club. You party with them right there. You invite a few random strangers to come over too from like dating apps, and bam, you got a club in your backyard. Like, you go to the club because it is entirely too dangerous to be going to the club.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, man, old quarantine, man, it spoiled me, man. Like, to the point where I don't even like being outside now. Like, I enjoy being at home, man. And like the thought of going to a club, like, it makes me cringe a little bit. Like, I have no desire whatsoever to go to a club. Now, I would invite some people over and we can play some spades and, take a couple shots or something. But after that, like, I can't imagine being at a club. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, man. It's a risk that people are taking, and I just don't think that we're really taking it that serious, because I've seen videos of people, I mean, hundreds of people at the club on the intersection turned up, and I'm like, man, it's too much, man. I can't.
I feel like that's a selfish act with people that you cannot sit down somewhere and wait to stuff open, wait till things are better. You go to the club, you can't go to a march, you can't go vote. Like that's the kind of thing aggravating with some black people. That we can turn up, we can do all these good things, we can have a good old time. When it comes to march at the polls, or it come to march or anything like that, you won't know where to be found, but have the most to say on Facebook. Have the most to say on Facebook.
So, and that's how you go to the Blue Flame. We're gonna go together. So we'll go to the Blue Flame together. And James, you said I came with you. You can come to the Blue Flame with us.
Nah, bro. Bring the Blue Flame to you, bro. Bring Blue Flame to you. You know, just hire a couple of them. Bring them to the
we have time. The reality is, guys, we have to be in for this for the long haul. And people are now kind of saying the whole entire, like Texas has a new approach saying that it's your responsibility and it's coming down to you. And yeah, I mean, really it is. It's true. It's going to come down to you. It is about how you have to protect yourself and take care of yourself as we move into COVID-19. So, I mean, we try to move through this, but it's definitely not looking good with cases going up. And I definitely don't think that we're not shutting down again. I don't believe. I do not think we're going to be getting another economic stimulus. I don't think.
I don't. That's shutdown, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
President Trump isn't going to shut down this economy again because he cares less about people who die. He's going to drive hard because he wants to say no matter what happens, he's banking his reelection on the economy. And he could care less about the American lives that are lost because those lives mean nothing to him. It's about that bottom line dollar. So
you got a point. You got a point on that. If it shuts down, it would be more so for martial law than for than COVID. I think. You know what I mean?
Now, Josh, what global virus is this?
Yes, that's why I highlighted. I wanted to know what he's talking about. Please elaborate in the comment. But people, I mean, if you are Christians, I can't speak for everybody, but the Bible talk about this in the last days.
Yes, sir.
I really do feel like we are in our last days, and the only thing we can do is get right, church, and let's go home. So, so with that being said, it's nothing that we can do with inedible Lord. I'm sorry. I've been drinking. Okay, but
I'm going on Wendy's drive-thru.
I know exactly, but at the same time, I feel like we just have to do what's best for our household. Like my mom used to say, "The we're going outside on their house, but in this house, we all gonna be protected." So if you just have that mentality, I feel like that's okay. Well, this is the name of the virus, 1D 10T. That's like a
LD or ID.
And they say China initiated. Oh wow!
Oh my Lord!
Sounds like a conspiracy theory, Josh. I gotta Google this. I gotta see more about this.
That sounds like Trump. That sounds like some Trump.
China.
Blaming China again. Yeah, man. But I think all in all, man, with everything that's going on, one thing I have realized is that as a people, man, we've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go when it comes to being on the same page because everybody got ideas, everybody got, things they want to do, but let's all stick to something. Like we got to have a plan of action and go to course, and I know we talk about voting, voting is something that we can do to help change laws and put certain things in place, but still that's not the end all be all. I think at the end of the day, we have to collectively come together somehow. And, we talk about we circulating the black dollar in our community and stuff like that. But are we really doing it? You know what I mean? And then how do we keep track of what's being circulated? The plan has to be executed. Whatever that plan is, we got to be on until we come together as a people. We will still run in circles, man. But I still think at the end of the day, we are farther than we've been, but we still have a long way to go.
You know what, James? Let me tell you what agenda we're voting for right now. We're not necessarily voting for any agenda because there is no agenda that has been laid out that's going to probably serve the best interest of the majority of people represented in the conversation.
Right
now, we're voting for the Democratic agenda because that's the option that we're given. You're voting for the Democratic agenda or you're voting for the Republican agenda. With that being stated, once we have a Democratic president, and we have a Democratic Senate, I speak it to be, and we have a Democratic legislation in the House of Representatives, then we're going to push for a different agenda. That's when we're going to push hard and look at the best of what Bernie Sanders laid out, what Pete Buttigieg laid out, what Elizabeth Warren laid out, what Kamala Harris laid out, what Cory Booker laid out, what Julian Castro laid out, what Andrew Yang laid out. And then we're going to put those elements all together, and we're going to say, this is the best agenda for Black America, and this is the best agenda for where we want to take the Black community, our nation. But we can't do any agenda until we get Democratic leadership in Washington, D.C. We can't do any agenda. Any agenda
with the right Democrats up there. We need the right Democrats up there. The right people up there, what we have going on. I feel like and I was one of them. I said this last week on live. I was one who voted Democrat and didn't know what the hell they stood for, what they had going on. I asked when it was Democrats, so I voted. So I want to challenge people, when you do vote, do your research and make sure that these Democrats people stand for your beliefs of what you want to happen. Because you have Democratic ways and have Republican ways, and they vote the same way. I'm just keeping it real. So know who you are voting. Know your candidate. That's the best way to put it. Know who you are voting for.
Yeah. And, you know, man, it gets to a point now, man, where it's been so bad that it's like, man, we just want some peace. Who's ever's for peace at the end of the day, that's who got my vote. Because it's been so chaotic these last however many years it's been since 45 been in office, man. It's just like, let's just get some peace for a second. Like, and let's figure this thing out, how we want to move forward. I do think it's so dope that there are a lot of people of different races, not just white, but different races that are coming together and saying, hey, man, we starting to really see that Black lives do matter. Like, they are really being mistreated and, you know, in our society, in our country. So let's back them up. What can we do to make sure that everybody's on the same page? I think that's pretty dope. I do think that's a start. You know, we talk about religion and whatnot, and no matter what your belief is, it really comes down to a matter of the heart. You know, when it comes to race, we talk about racism. The cures for it all is love. You know what I mean? If you don't have that true agape love in your heart, there is opportunity and room for hate to spew into your heart. You know what I mean? So if you don't have that in you, then it's going to be a problem. But when you do have that, then you can come together and you don't see color. You don't see sexuality. You know, then it comes down to we are all human beings. You know, we're continuously becoming something as a unit. You know, if we can get back to that and work together, then we can do anything. So
I agree. I mean, but love can't be something that we do alone. It has to be done across the board.
There you go.
We're nowhere near that.
And reciprocity. Yes. I mean, not reciprocity, but
Marianne Williamson, absolutely. You know, don't think it's gonna happen. Don't think that we'll be getting, even close to getting it.
Yeah, reparations, yeah.
You know, but there are things that we can do. And James, when you talk about, you're right, you have to know your elected officials across the board. And you know what? Hold them accountable to the work they do.
I will say this. If Trump really wanted to be president for the next 4 years, let him talk about reparations. He talked reparations. Hey, everything changes at that point. I'm gonna say everything. If Trump, what? If we talk, that's the only way he would have a chance. If we talk reparations,
there is no way. No matter what, Donald Trump can't buy my vote.
I agree. He can't buy your vote, but I guarantee he can buy some vote.
As a Black person, and then offer me some money and think that I'm going
to sprinkle $50 Black people. No,
I guarantee he'll try it. I guarantee he'll try it. He'll try it. Why?
Donald Trump believes that he can buy over Black support. That's why
for sure.
He brought in those Black, historically Black college universities presidents and had them all around him saying, we're going to
taking pictures and all that.
HBCUs than what Obama gave. And that's why he brought in the Black preachers, because he was like, Black people revere education and Black people revere Christianity. So I'm going to bring these people here and I'm going to pay them off. So that's going to get the Black people in line. That's what is mine. And there is nothing that man can do on this planet Earth that's going to make me vote for him. period, point blank. He has shown me who he is, and he has shown me what he believes about the Black community. I'm never going to be able to unsee and unhear the things that he said and the things that he's done. The things that Donald Trump has done in the White House will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
And I say that because I was one of the people in this world who believed America had changed. When President Barack Hussein Obama was elected, I went to the first inauguration and I stood in lines for hours. I sat on trains for hours just to get a glimpse of that historic moment. And I said to myself, thank you, God, for letting me live long enough and to be born at this time in history to see this moment. Just to have it ripped away from me in 2016, when racism and hatred, everything wrong in America won the day. It was the worst day of my life, and I was depressed for a long time. I think I'm still impacted by it. And if this man wins again, I do not think I will ever in my lifetime heal from that disappointment.
Bro, I will be so, bro. I just feel like there's something that's gonna happen and it's gonna force him to stay another 4. I just feel it, man. I feel it, bro. I don't know what it is, man. I hope it doesn't happen that way, but he's gonna do something that's gonna happen. I hope it doesn't, but yeah.
One thing I would say this, you guys, is we see we're all Black men and we are all different shades of color on this live. And I truly feel like until Black people stick and stand together and really look out for each other, no matter what you do, look out and truly help one another. That's how we will get ahead in life. But we have too many crab in the barrel bucket type Black people. And it's just what it is. And I should have to say that I'm a light-skinned Black person. I'm Black. I had to describe Trump as being a dark-skinned Black person. He's Black. Or being brown-skinned, Zach, you're Black. We're all Black men. You get what I'm saying? We all got the struggle. We all go through the same struggle. We can put about a white person. He gonna say, "Oh, a light-skinned Black man." He gonna say, "You Black or you an nigger?" You get what I'm saying? And I really hate that we have this Black house and this slave the slave nigga and the house nigga mentality. Like, we need to get rid of that. We say we're not wrapped around the white man thinking, but we still think like that.
Yep.
Get what I'm saying? That's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, man. Some people, man, it's literally embedded in their brains and it's passed down from generations to generations. You know what I mean? And it's like you don't really know unless this is what I think. I think every person, especially Black people, needs 3 years of counseling therapy. Period. We are mentally effed up, and we need help from an emotional intelligence standpoint. And from mentally, from the traumatic experiences that we've experienced. You think about, like, as a child, I got whooped as a child, right? My mama and mostly my mother whooped me. My dad whooped me maybe twice, and when he did, it was it. But you think about where whoopings came from. Where did my mom get that? She got that from her mom. Exactly, and she got that from her mom. And this is something that I learned, is that I had anger in me because there were times where I felt like I got whipped for no reason. So I'm like, why are you whooping me? Like, do you not love me? You know what I mean? So I'm built up this certain anger. I'm like, I don't even know where it's coming from, but it came from that rejection of feeling like, oh, in order to get somebody controlled,
you gotta beat up to submission.
Exactly. So, man, stuff like that. People have traumatizing experiences. Especially our people, that's been passed down from generation to generation. Even when it comes to, we talk about Christianity, for a long time, me as a young man, I thought that Jesus was white. I thought that painting of Jesus, I forgot his name, Caesar, whatever his name is, I thought that was Jesus. That's that thing that was passed down from generation to generation that now I understand, like, that's not, why did they make him white? Why do they want to do that? To gain that power and that control, man. So it's like, now you have to unlearn. It's like you have to unlearn things and then relearn again what's really real. You know what I mean? So you have to question everything,
and
even
so
your own faith.
Cole talked about the number of people the presidents who have not been elected a second term. And Cole, we've only had 5 presidents who sought re-election or lived to be eligible to get re-elected, who did not win a second term. The first one being William Taft, the second being Herbert Hoover, the third being Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, and then George Bush Sr. But here's the reality. Donald Trump has a lower approval rating than many of the leaders that didn't get reelected. When you look at the level of discontent around the economy, it very much so mirrors the economy of Carter, the economy of Hoover. So those things to me say not going to get reelected. When you look at the level of discontent, William Taft didn't win re-election because he followed behind very successful Theodore Roosevelt as president. Donald Trump did follow behind the very successful presidency of Barack Obama, despite the fact that racists hate the man. The majority of Americans feel as though he was the best president they've seen in their lives, those who are still living. Additionally, Hillary Clinton won the majority of popular votes. Donald Trump did not. So he already won by a electoral college process. I believe that Donald Trump is not going to win re-election. It all comes down to 5 states: Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and either Georgia, North Carolina, or Florida.
Florida, yep.
Or Wisconsin.
South Carolina. South Carolina
ain't gonna count. They're gonna go for Trump. But let me tell you, Michigan is not going for Trump. The Republicans in Michigan burned their ballots this past week instead of even casting the ballots. He's not going to win Michigan. He's not going to win Pennsylvania. And I do not believe he's going to win Arizona. He might, but I don't think he will. Even then, Georgia is in play. There were more Democrats that voted in the June 9th primary than in the history of the state. And more Democrats voted than Republicans, despite what the media what Newsweek falsely released on Friday. All the absentee ballots are in. They announced, the AJC reported today that more Democrats voted. We are on lead to flip this state. And I believe that we're going to, as long as people who are registered to vote come out and those that we know can vote and haven't voted or who haven't registered do so. It's not too late. We can do this. We can not only flip Georgia, and if you flip Georgia, you have more electoral votes in Georgia than you do in Arizona and Michigan. So if we can flip Georgia, and then we can not only give Georgia to Biden, but we can give 2 Senate seats can go John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. We can do it. We just have to believe it and make it happen.
Yeah, Georgia scares me, man, because most people that's not from Georgia, they think Atlanta and they think that's it. Like, no, Georgia is one of the largest states in the country. Yep. And also, I'm from Georgia, but I'm from a small country town. I'm from Middle Georgia area. And I guarantee you, it's called Sandersville. Sandersville. Yep, that's like 2 hours southeast of here. It's in the Middle Georgia area. Sandersville, Tennille, Georgia.
What county? Crawford County?
Washington County.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right close to Millersville. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. So, Georgia is known for, Georgia founded KKK. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like there's still that spirit that hovers over the state. Now, when it comes to certain cities, it may be a little bit different. But the state as a whole is what I'm concerned about, man. And it's almost embarrassing. But at the same time, we've come so far in where we were to where we are right now. Like you said, man, we have an opportunity right now to flip this thing, to take over, to make it right,
Rodney, do you have any other topics on the table?
That's it.
Been burning you to talk about.
Really just I want to inform people to go march on Washington and make sure that you go out and vote, like Tron said. And like the same thing goes for Mississippi. Tron is someplace in Mississippi where it's just redneck Hoop City.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it like it is. Mm-hmm. And until, like what James said, there's too many inactive and unregistered Black voters. Until we get out there and vote, you guys, all the marching we're doing will not mean anything. I'm just keeping it real. Mm-hmm. That's my closing remarks.
Tron, so for all of our those who checked in, those who are going to see this, where can people find you? You're saying that you're not really doing the radio thing. Are you doing lives? Are you doing? Where can people find you, see you, and plug in and check in on you?
Yeah, catch me on Instagram. If you have Instagram, KingTron, KingTron 1111. So 1111. I'm actually tomorrow night. 1111. That's right. That's right. The numbers, man, the angel numbers. But I'm actually doing a live, like a dating show thing on live with Shay Johnson. Shay is on Love and Hip Hop Miami. She was also on Flavor Love. She's doing a speed dating thing, and we're in the final 2 weeks. So I'm like one of the 5 finalists on the show, and I actually go live with her tomorrow night at I think 7:45 p.m. or 7:15, one or the other. But she's gonna start at 7. So if you guys want to check in on that, man, that'll be dope. It's gonna be on her live. I think her IG is like I am Shay Johnson, something like that. So I got that going. Outside of that, I just post stuff here and there, man, about what's going on.
Candace wants to know who's being set up.
Who's being set up?
Who's being set up?
Hey, look, man, look. It's just you got to watch it. You got to come on and see what's going on. So, yeah.
And so, Rodney, what do you have happening this week? What else are you doing live or other things that's happening?
Well, Wednesdays I do what would you do Wednesdays with my sister Nikisha White. It's really fun.
Is that what you're cooking?
No. We just talking about questions. So we pose a question to the audience and we just talk about it. And I do this with you on Monday. Yeah. And hopefully this can be like turned into a panel discussion where it can be,
Right. we will have a panel coming up. We have, it's different things that we'll be doing. Every Monday we are here. I'm also here every Thursday with the live cast 3+1. The last thing I do want to share with everybody is the book club of the month.
Oh, yes.
I'm doing a book club. I have not given it a name yet. I'm trying to get to the cover so everybody. This month's book club is, can y'all see that?
Yes.
How to Be an Anti-Racist. That is the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. We are all reading the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. We're going to have our book club meeting on July 7th. You have until July 7th to read the book. I'm going to share out flyers, or, digital flyers on social media. July 7th is a special day chosen because it is also National Blackout Day. On July 7th, we should not spend any money in full economic protest of Black Lives Matter and injustice around the United States, as well as a fight against racism. We want to hurt the economy to prove a point that even though, as James said, we are less than 30% of the population, we are a financial powerhouse.
We are a powerhouse.
We have to withhold that from the economy to really show that our money has power and value. So instead of spending money on July 7th, you will join me for a discussion of the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. If you haven't gotten the book, get the book. You can order a used copy on Amazon very cheaply or just simply download it to your device. With that being said, guys, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a great night.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys, man. Got to do it again.
Yes.
On a regular basis. All right, y'all.
Sir. All right, peace.